weather video. Your host, Avi Kamaz. I know many are out for summer vacation. Maybe you're heading out to another state, or maybe you're staying here in Missouri and Illinois. I want to look at those trends for the early part of June, and if any of those trends include storms. So I'm here to talk about it and break it down at the best of my ability in today's video. The first graphic you're looking at is from Northern Illinois University, and I know it might look confusing, but I want you to focus on the bottom portion of your screen where it says June 1st through the 7th, so you know the time frame that we're looking at. And all these colors on your screen, they basically represent the probabilities of thunderstorms from one forecast model that we like to use. And before you get an outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, or before you're told by a meteorologist that, hey, this is coming, this is what we like using before we let the public know, okay, this is coming or that is coming. So this isn't really looking at the probability of severe weather, but the probability of stronger thunderstorms. And you notice during this period, some encouraging news is that it's further off to the west, like places like Kansas, Oklahoma, the northern part of Texas. I think that's where it's focused during the early part of June. And it's just based on this model, the model guidance that we're seeing. We could get some changes to that, but I've seen that consistency mainly off to the west during this period. Now, if you're heading to places like Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, doesn't mean that you're going to encounter those thunderstorms if you're heading in that direction for vacation, but it just shows you higher probabilities further off to the west. And the second week of June, you're like, Alvin, that doesn't really look that bad, and you're correct. It doesn't look that bad with some lower probabilities of at least stronger thunderstorms. The chances of thunderstorms might be a little bit higher. The chance of them being, again, a little bit stronger might be slightly lower, but you notice those same states further off to the west-southwest the forecast model wants to concentrate on. But don't focus on the exact location of where those higher probabilities are, or where you're seeing the yellows and the oranges in the second week of June, because we're going to see those changes. The only encouraging news I do have out of this is we see lower probabilities over Missouri and Illinois, which after what we saw on May 16th, we want to see that trend continue. Now, of course, looking at this coming Tuesday, notice how the chance of stronger thunderstorms are focused to the west of St. Louis. They kind of want to weaken by the time they get here. This is also another look at what our Storm Prediction Center is seeing. They're looking at those same model guidance that I'm looking at and creating an outlook on where they think stronger thunderstorms might be during this upcoming week. And you notice how it's mainly focused further off to the west. Places like Kansas, Oklahoma, for example, that's kind of where the focus is during the early part of June. But I'm not saying we're not gonna get a storm here in St. Louis. We could still get one, but again, you notice that is mainly concentrated and focused off to the north. But whether you're seeing storms or not, this is something that I want us to have in mind. You want to have a NOAA weather radio, replace the batteries on them because alerts come immediately. Yes, others are your phone, but remember what happens if your phone dies. And we learned our lesson on May 16th, which I hate saying because we don't want to learn a lesson from a tornado. And you can see I'm also wearing my St. Louis Strong shirt to support St. Louis, to know that we are going to rebuild. I know St. Louis is a place that we love so much, but we're going to rebuild. And we know it's a myth that tornadoes, like we saw on May 16th, can't go through very populated areas, because they've gone through places like Nashville and, of course, even in the St. Louis area as well. But, of course, while we deal with some quiet weather here and there during the month, this is something that you do want to deal with. Even this past weekend, we've dealt with some quiet weather. You probably noticed some hazy skies from Canadian wildfires. You see, when you're dealing with those quiet conditions, you want to have a NOAA weather radio on you, and also follow me on my socials as well. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So again, make sure you have a NOAA weather radio by going to midlandusa.com to keep your family safe during the 2025 severe weather season. Now, looking at temperature trends, actually during the early portions of June, you notice how we are actually in a hole right here, where we have below normal to near normal temperatures being expected, where the rest of the U.S. is surrounded by above normal temperatures. Well, our normal highs for this time of the year range in the lower to mid 80s, so you would expect temperatures slightly lower than that. And that's actually because we're going to have a chance for some showers, maybe a few rumbles or thunderstorms being possible in this region. even us here in Missouri and Illinois, that might keep temperatures a little bit cooler. So that is the reason why you see this huge hole where the rest of the U.S. is covered under above normal temperatures, but we're under below normal temperatures because those showers and thunderstorms tend to keep our temperatures a little bit cooler. And we see that trend continuing during the mid portion of June, as you see how we have below normal to near normal temperatures being favored. The rest of the U.S. still seeing that confidence, even if it drops a little bit of above normal temperatures. So not saying you're not going to have time to get out to the pool, but when we do warm up, when we don't deal with those thunderstorm chances, that is when temperatures are going to be able to soar up and you're going to be able to cool off in the pool as well. So you'll have your opportunities in June. You're just going to have a little bit of a showery, rainy activity to deal with at times, which could keep temperatures a little bit cooler than you might want it. But we also have indoor pools as well. And looking at precip for the month of June, notice how we have equal chances for above or below normal precip further off to the northeast. St. Louis is kind of leaning or just above normal on precip during the month, meaning we might trend a little bit wetter than normal during the month, but we have higher probabilities further to the southwest, like Kansas and Oklahoma. So you notice how I've mentioned those states a lot. So if you're heading in those directions, you might encounter slightly wetter weather during the early portions of June at the minimum. Yes, this does cover the entire month of June, but we will see changes. So I don't want you to be like, I have family I'm about to see in Oklahoma. That means I can't go there. That is not what I'm saying. You're going to still have many days with some pretty nice weather, but we're seeing those trends for a slightly wetter month during the month of June. So that's something you do need to know. So that's really all the weather talk I have for today. There's not much to talk about really, and hopefully I get a small break from doing green screen forecast if the weather turns a little bit more quiet. But if it becomes more active, I'm going to be here to bring you those updates. But I also do have plans during the summer. So if you could do me a favor, make sure you follow me over on X or Twitter or Threads, wherever you want to follow me, so that I can bring you with that information, my outdoor weather reports from wherever I am, whether I'm out of state or even here in St. Louis. I'll be here to bring you those updates. So definitely follow me on there. I have plans during the summer, and I don't want you to miss out on my updates here, because I'm going to be bringing my phone wherever I am, bringing my stand that I'm using to hold my phone in front of you. So you definitely want to follow me on my socials so that I can bring you the weather from where I am, especially if I'm not able to upload on here. But make sure you're still subscribed with notifications on. Again, that's all the weather talk I have for today. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure, again, you're liked and subscribed. Follow me on my socials with all notifications on so that you don't miss wherever I am across the U.S. and even here in the St. Louis area. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.